Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today to talk about the Times Higher Education Impact Rankings, Sustainable Development Goals, and SciVal. My name is Linda Galloway, and I am a customer consultant with Elsevier Research Intelligence based in the Western U.S. So today I'm going to share information to help you understand what the UN Sustainable Development Goals are and how they're implemented in Elsevier's research impact solutions to help our users explore impact, understand their global strengths, and explore and foster research collaborations. I'll share the methodology that the Times Higher Ed uses to create the SDG impact rankings, and we will explore universities' individual impact. We're going to use SciVal to help analyze research through the lens of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but please note that most of what I will discuss can be applied to any research field, not exclusively the Sustainable Development Goals. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by all UN member states in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. Of course, these are lofty goals, but underscore the world's need to address the complex and wide-ranging trials facing humanity. Elsevier has developed a number of resources to help the research community understand their contributions to these goals, help demonstrate and track progress towards the goals, and find new people and institutions to collaborate with. Our users are especially interested in identifying the most relevant authors and institutions in a particular area, understand where they are compared to peers and competitors, and see which people work in the field that they're not already aware of. First, I'll call your attention to, near the bottom of the screen, Elsevier's SDG Resource Center, that link on the screen, which aims to support the UN in implementing the Sustainable Development Goals by promoting understanding and collaboration. At Elsevier, we are really pleased to be able to make unique contributions to sustainable development, from our rich research content and analytics capabilities to building research capacity in developing countries and advancing diversity in science in partnership with our global health and research communities. Let's take a look at this in practice. We just released a new report, The Power of Data to Advance the Sustainable Development Goals, Matching Research for these Sustainable Development Goals, which relied on a number of analyses and techniques to map the goals to published research. All search queries, the methodology, and the results for each query are freely available on Mendeley, and the data can be accessed through Elsevier's International Center for the Study of Research, our ICSR lab. And this is for use in scholarly research evaluation methods that identify publications representative of the SDGs. So taking a look at SDG 14, which is Life Below Water, we can see that there are more than 104,000 publications during this time period, which was 2015 to 2019, with a significant annual growth rate. The report details much more information than we will discuss here, but in the context of this presentation, we're going to take an in-depth look at a few of the metrics associated with these analyses in SciVal. So much of the work that went into analyzing these data can be accomplished using SciVal, Elsevier's premier analytics and benchmarking tool. Let's turn our attention to SciVal. I'll give you a brief introduction, and then we'll talk about how you can accomplish these analyses using SciVal to gain a better understanding or perspective on how your institution or country contributes to research in the SDGs or any other research area. I also wish to note that you don't have to be a Harvard or a University of Toronto or even a McGill to have made significant contributions to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. My examples will draw from output at the University of Waterloo, which clearly holds its own in this scholarly research area. Also, I'll note that all the SDGs, so the queries and all that other information, are already available and implemented in SciVal as predefined research areas, which make them really easy to use and investigate. So SciVal is an analytical solution that allows you to characterize the research portfolio for more than 19,000 global entities and provides tools to benchmark with meaning and accuracy to better understand an institution's position over time and relative to others. SciVal clearly elucidates collaborators and competitors in any research field and aids in recruitment or retention decisions. SciVal's topic prominence technology helps inform research strategies by granularly characterizing research efforts and indicating which research areas have more growth potential. SciVal uses advanced data analytics and supercomputing technology to instantly configure and process enormous amounts of data and generate on-demand data visualizations relevant to your specific challenges. All right, let's take a look at a broad overview of research impact first. One way that SciVal helps academic institutions is by analyzing the research impact and output for their entire portfolio. Using the University of Waterloo as an example, we can see some broad research metrics such as the overall number of publications, overall number of publications, the citations to those publications, and the field-weighted citation impact. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the field-weighted citation impact because it is a normalized citation metric, one of the most popular metrics in SciVal. It takes into account the year of publication, the type of document, and the field of research. And the global field-weighted citation impact is 1.0. This is a snowball metric and was developed using the Scopus database of field-weighted citation impact. If you're familiar at all with NIH's relative citation ratio, both the RCR and the field-weighted citation impact are both field-normalized citation metrics. Additionally, the field-weighted citation impact and the RCR of articles correlates very strongly across numerous subject areas and are comparably stable. In this example, University of Waterloo has a FWCI of 1.52. So in other words, its articles are cited about 52% more than similar publications. The field-weighted citation impact is this important research metric, which we'll take a deeper look at as we go on, as it's applied to many different types of entities. We're taking a look now at an individual researcher in SciVal. As I mentioned before, the field-weighted citation impact is one of the most used metrics in this tool. And I'll just, for some nomenclature clarity here, when I speak about entities in SciVal, I'm talking about things we can analyze: countries, institutions, people, research areas, journal output, lots of different things. SciVal is very, very flexible. In the previous screen, we analyzed the entire output of a university and found the field-weighted citation impact. Here, we're looking at an individual researcher. Remember, this metric is the actual citation count compared to the expected world citation count and factors in the age of the document. Citations accrue over time. The type of document, we know that review articles, for example, are cited more than research articles. And then it takes into account the field of research, accounting for discipline-specific citation practices. So this field-weighted citation impact of 1.61 for this author means that his articles are cited about 60% more than would be expected. However, we need to exercise some caution when applying this metric to an individual researcher, because if there are few documents, the metric can be unstable. So we would use a complementary metric as well that can support the FWCI, such as the number or percentage of this author's publications in top journals, or their collaboration metrics. These metrics are all embedded in SciVal and available to analyze by simply selecting them from a menu. Additionally, we provide in-product metrics guidance, which takes me to my next point, exercising caution when using metrics. Elsevier makes it really easy to ethically apply metrics to various types of research entities. Beyond that in-product messaging, we directly link to the Research Metrics Guidebook, which thoroughly describes each metric and indicates when to use caution in applying the metrics, suggests complementary resources or metrics that may be used in conjunction with what you're looking at. As a leading research metrics platform, we are constantly enhancing how we provide guidance to customers on the responsible use of metrics. I'm proud to represent SciVal as the design principles of it are accuracy, flexibility, and transparency. So we know that people and programs are evaluated using metrics, and we strive to make the data understandable, clear, and in most cases, you can just download it. The array of metrics available through SciVal can help ensure that the metrics are applied ethically throughout the research landscape and provide explanations of the metrics, calculation methods, and guidance. Typically, the metrics are used to understand research impact, but additionally help inform research strategies and provide evidence for informed decision-making. So, okay, this is a very simple visualization, but it remains one of the most popular in SciVal. This graph shows scholarly output over time, which the publication years on the x-axis and the number of documents are on the y-axis. SciVal is pre-populated with the 19,000 institutions and countries. So to create a graph or chart like this, you simply select the entities, choose the time frame you want, and display the data. We even have a very spiffy time motion chart option, so you can visualize metrics changing over time. And I also chose in this case to display chart labels, which you can display or not display. You can change the colors of everything. So it really provides nice, ready-to-use graphics for other applications. And here's a little chart on the right, just the scholarly output for 2019. We can see that China produced more publications than the US, I believe for the first time in 2019. Okay, let's turn to the specific Sustainable Development Goals impact rankings. I'd like to note that the methodology is available on the Times Higher Education site and is distinctly different from the methodology used to create the Times Higher Ed World University Rankings. The SDG impact rankings are designed to quantify societal impact when working towards the Sustainable Development Goals. The rankings for the SDGs are calculated from a specific set of metrics that provide comprehensive and balanced comparisons across three broad areas: research, outreach, and stewardship. The 2020 edition represents the second iteration of these rankings and includes 768 universities from 85 countries. Let's take a look at SDG 13. Which is climate action. Each impact ranking has a tailored set of metrics by which the universities are measured. You can see on this slide the criteria for SDG 13, which is, again, climate action. Research. So research on climate action comprises 27% of the rankings for this goal. And it focuses, the research has to focus on research that is relevant to climate action, obviously. So then the other criteria for creating a score in climate action, SDG 13, includes low carbon energy use, which is the amount of renewable low carbon energy used by the institution. Environmental education measures, so data, so how much environmental education are you conducting at your university? And some examples are on the screen. And the carbon neutrality. So universities are asked whether to indicate whether they have already achieved carbon neutrality or whether they're working on this commitment. You'll notice, though, that much of the information beyond the research data is self-reported and needs to be backed up by evidentiary examples. The SDG impact rankings for climate action in 2020 include 4 Canadian universities in the top 10. As we saw in the previous slide, of course, these rankings are comprised of more than the scholarly output and the impact of that published research. And in fact, the criteria encapsulate, as we saw, those broader impacts of academic actions. Let's take a look at another sustainable development goal. This is 14, life below water. We can see that again, 27% of the score is derived from publications and their impact, but the broader ecosystem and environmental initiatives at a university make up a higher proportion of the score. So again, research on life below water is the 27%. Education related to aquatic ecosystems, which include education programs on freshwater ecosystems, fisheries, tourism, and outreach activities. Then we have supporting aquatic ecosystems, so events and initiatives to promote conservation and sustainable water use. Water-sensitive waste disposal, which is meeting those water quality control discharge standards, reducing plastic waste and marine pollution. And then maintaining a local ecosystem, so monitoring bodies of water and mitigating ecosystem degradation. And again, we will see that the impact rankings for 2020 of life below water include 3 Canadian universities, and again, University of British Columbia is number 1. It might occur to you, hey, life below water is a pretty broad field. Aquatic ecosystems and water include everything, research on everything from ocean acidification to human health. But what SciVal does is allows us to find out exactly what any institution is specifically doing in this field or any other area. So now we're going to move from the global perspective, which you see on the screen of life below water research, to the institutional view. Again, we're going to use Waterloo as an example. And in this particular research area, for the time frame we looked at, which was 2015 to 2019, Waterloo published 184 documents in this research area with a field-weighted citation impact of 1.57. So let's explore this a little further. So we took a look at University of Waterloo research in SDG 14, life below water. With a topic prominence technology, which is a leading feature in SciVal, I'm able to see exactly what type of research the University of Waterloo conducts, the impact of that research, and by using the prominence percentile, the likelihood that this field will be more heavily funded in the future. For example, I see that Waterloo conducts research into smolts, which I've learned are young salmon, in marine protected areas, and in social ecological systems and resilience. So these are 3 distinct research areas. We can explore these 3 distinct research areas or any others in much greater depth to find out which researchers are more active, most active, which other institutions are involved in these research areas, and many more details. This chart on the screen, the bubble size represents the number of publications in a particular area, and we can just investigate more about each research area by clicking on a bubble and gathering more information. SciVal allows us to really take a deep look at any entity's collaborations as well. So we can see who publishes with whom, the impact of the publications, and other information such as the individual authors. This initial screen represents Waterloo's collaborators globally, and I'm going to focus on the smolt research. So I have the ability using this map to drill down into any country or region, or to filter by sector, for example, if I wanted to look at Waterloo's corporate partnerships. So this map represents Waterloo's collaborations with all European institutions. I can explore each collaboration in depth to get more information. We know that there are many advantages to international academic collaborations, from a free exchange of ideas to fostering international cooperation. From an evaluative standpoint, we typically see impactful research resulting from these collaborations, with enhanced research attention leading to more citations and typically a higher field-weighted citation impact for international academic partnerships. So taking a look at this particular research topic, smolts and smoltification, I can see that there are two top institutions, which are Norwegian institutions. I can explore the activity, in this case, of the Institute for Marine Research, see the impact of their publications in this field, and derive insights from the nature of the research conducted there. I can see on the right-hand side of the screen the most frequently used keywords in their abstracts and titles of the articles, for example. But I want to compare the activity of the Institute of Marine Research to my institution, which is Waterloo. And that's what I'm doing here. I noted that Waterloo is not currently collaborating with one of the leading institutions in smolts and smoltification, so maybe this is an area I want to explore. So I'm taking a look now at this, the type of research they conduct, and I can look at the prominence percentile to see if the research is likely to be more heavily funded in the future or not. And then what I'm seeing here for the activity for the Institute of Marine Research are the top authors in this field. So if I'm at Waterloo and I'm conducting research in smolts and smoltification, and I want to try to strike up a collaborative partnership with the Institute of Marine Research in Norway, I can see who the authors are, if they conduct research similar to mine, and where we might have synergies and places to move forward together. I'd like to, drawing to a close here, I would like to thank you for your time and attention today through this quick tour of SciVal. We discussed that SciVal provides instant access to a comprehensive view of the world's research activities from the global down to the individual level. We can investigate research in any particular research area, create snapshots of research impact, find collaborators, and understand what our competitors are doing. We've honestly just scratched the surface of what SciVal can do, and I encourage you to take an in-depth look at SciVal by contacting me, Ahmed, or your Elsevier representative. So I'll pause here and see if there are any questions before we go on. And here's more information about the research activities, or I'm sorry, about how to get to the information from SciVal and how to contact me or Ahmed. And I don't see any questions coming through, but I'll just again mention that SciVal is an out-of-the-box solution. So all of these analyses were created pretty quickly, very quickly, and I can look in depth at any type of research in the world, essentially. I do have one question. Can outputs be broken down into types? I don't know what that means. Oh, so research outputs? Yes. So if I want to know how many, if this is what you're asking, research papers, book chapters, is that the type of thing? If so, yes. So we can see what SciVal includes are journal articles, book chapters, conference proceedings, the content that's indexed in Scopus. And Scopus is one of the largest databases of peer-reviewed literature. And I'll wait another couple of minutes. And if that wasn't answering your question, just add something else. But I think that's what you mean. SciVal is super flexible. So within the tool, you can, let's say I want to look at outputs and top citation percentiles, which is a measure of outputs in top journals. That's one of my favorites. So how much of your scholarly output is published in the most highly ranked journals in your field or whatever field, so that we can look at the top 10%, the top 5%, the top 1%. So you have a lot of flexibility within each metric to make it more specific to your needs. Let's say you want to look at scholarly output in book chapters only and evaluate that kind of content. Because we include a lot of books and book chapters in Scopus specifically to meet the needs of researchers in the social sciences and arts and humanities whose scholarship is primarily communicated through books and book chapters. So they tend to get left out of some of these metrics analyses because they don't publish that much journal literature. So that's why we include that kind of information too. And we've got a few more minutes, and I can babble relentlessly here, or I'll see if there's any more questions coming through. It's, as you can imagine, totally weird sitting in my office with my cat meowing at me instead of being at a conference. I wish I was there with actual human beings. But I don't see any more questions, so I don't know if the session just ends on its own. I guess we'll find out here. But I want to thank you for joining me today. And again, I'm Linda Galloway. I am in the States, on the West Coast, but I support Canadian. I help my colleague Guillaume in supporting Canadian customers, and I'm happy to connect you with anybody to offer a trial of Scopus or just an overview on a call. It's a great tool. I love representing it because, like I said, it is transparent. It is comprehensive and easy to use, but it's also a very, very deep product with many features that people never use because they don't know they're there. So I encourage you, if you are a subscriber, to reach out to your consultant, and we are happy to go over any advanced or new features with you and try to understand how we can help better. There's also a lot of built-in information. So if you've got a question, you can mouse over a little question mark and it pops up with information. We're trying to embed more metrics guidance and more information throughout the tool. So if there are no other questions, I will finish the session then. And thank you very much. It's been great, and I really appreciate your attention and your time today.